Hello everyone. I welcome you all in today's session of Banquet program. Today we will be focusing on how you can register and prepare for Associate Cloud Engineer Certificate exam. My name is Mayur Rathi and I will be guiding you with today's learning session. So let's get started. Today we will start by understanding about different Google Cloud Certificate examination. Then I will take you through the exam study resources available with you in this program and how you can prepare for this certification using those resources. Later, I will guide you with the official practice exam available on the certification homepage of Google Cloud. And finally, I will guide you how you can create your customized study plan, and then we will discuss about scheduling this exam. I will give you a quick demo, and during this session, if anytime you have any questions, feel free to ask and drop your questions and queries in the chat section available on your screen. So let's get started. So qualifying for this certification simply demonstrates to the employer that you possess the necessary skills for this managing the GCP services and resources that can transform their businesses and eventually give a meaningful impact to people and customers they serve. So why certification? Certification is essential in today's market to validate your competency of technologies that are critical to business successes. For individual, certification provides credibility, which is a testament or proof of your skills and proficiency in GCP. Secondly, it provides you industry recognition, a formal recognition of professionals who meet established knowledge, skills and competencies. And third important accept is the career advancement. So certification often give you a competitive advantage over people those are not certified. And finally, it provides you added advantage throughout your personal and professional development. So certification ensures that you are on the top of industry technology developments and that your skills are updated. So as a student, you always want to present yourself as a best prepared candidate for a company that could ever considered, and exactly that is why the certification would help you in your journey. So now let's discuss why to opt for Google Cloud certification and why you should get yourself as Google Cloud certified. So Google Cloud is the fastest growing cloud and significant advantages it has in big data processing and analytics at scale. Whether you are just beginning your career in the cloud or have more experience with other cloud solution, it will validate your technical skills by getting you certified on Google Cloud, which will help you to demonstrate that you have all the necessary skills, critical skills to drive business successes in the today's highly competitive market. Becoming a Google Cloud certified validates your skills and will encourage you to stay current on the technology in order to maintain your certification. Certification again will provide you a tangible benefit as well. 80% of those who have applied for a new job, those were certified, had received at least one job offer, and 1 out of every 3 certified users received a pay rise or acquired a new job with a higher pay. So that is the reason you should opt for this Google Cloud certification and get yourself a Google Cloud certification. So now the question arises, which certification you should opt for? what is the ideal certification journey you should follow. So if you look on the screen, you would see that certification not only provides you technical requirements, but also it also meets the business requirement. So whenever you would start your journey in Google Cloud Platform, the first entry level certification which Google Cloud provides is the Associate Cloud Engineer. So this certification will verify the technical requirements, that is the GCP technology, the cloud computing, and the understanding on different GCP services and resources. So all these things would be verified in this entry level certification, and going forward you can opt for from a variety of professional certification available, whether it is a cloud architect, data engineer, network engineer, yes, collaboration engineer, security engineer. Based on your interest, you can choose any one of these following. So going forward, when you will opt for professional certification, it would be checking your technical as well as the business requirement. So not only this, even the industry leaders like Gartner have also said that the cloud architecture is a paramount to eventual success of cloud adoption. So as the industry is looking to adopt cloud in their present infrastructure, it is critical that they are looking for the certified professionals. And I would say this is the very right time to get yourself a GCP certification. So now it's time that you should take your career to the next level by validating your technical expertise by gaining a certificate. So this is the best chance for all the students to start preparing and become a Google Cloud certified professional. So now the question comes that what actually are the benefits after getting a Google Cloud certification? So with this certification, it will help you to distinguish yourself from your peers. You would be able to flaunt these cool certification badges by simply putting these onto your resumes or your social media profile like LinkedIn. The certification helps you in career growth, the industry recognition for the technology, and it also provides you the expertise in the field. And later you can widen your network, exchange your ideas in the Google Cloud certified community, gain knowledge from the peers, exchange your understanding with the certified professionals in the community, and by this you can even contribute to the your understanding in the with the like-minded peoples. So what's next? So now let's discuss key points related to Associate Cloud Engineer Certificate exam, as we will be focusing on this particular entry level certification in our discussion. So now the GCP certification can be taken online or at a Criterion test centers. So Criterion is the organization appointed by Google for taking these certification. So duration of the exam will be of 2 hours. You would be having multiple choice and multiple select questions, and you can prepare accordingly. So you would be required to answer these questions keeping the technical as well as business requirement in your mind. And for exam, make sure that you should be carrying your government ID proof for verification like passport and driving licenses. So these are the basic information. We will discuss more in detail at the end of the session. But for now, you should keep in these important points in your mind. And let's continue with our discussion. So now let's discuss what are the exam study resources available with you guys, using which you can prepare for this exam. So Associate Cloud Engineer exam. So let's quickly take a look at the exam guide, which is available on this certification homepage. So whenever you would go on cloud.google.com, you can always select and go to the certification from this option. Select this getting started drop down. There you would find Google Cloud Certificate Examination. So once you go to that page, you will be landing on this particular page, and from the left options you would see that Associate Cloud Engineer is listed, and you will be finally landing on this particular home page. Now here, as we have already discussed that it is of 2 hours, so all these relevant information can be checked from this home page. Now the next important point you should note is the exam guide. So exam guide is the official syllabus, I would say, available for you guys, in according to which you should be preparing for this certification exam. So there are 5 to 6 key modules, and here all the key information, all the key services are mentioned right here, which are to be followed, and the understanding on these services are expected from a candidate appearing for this particular examination. So this is the exam guide. Now we will be discussing all these 5 modules shortly, but for now it is important that you should be following exam guide in your preparations. Along with it, you have been provided access to architecting with Google Compute Engine specialization on Coursera. I believe some of you have already started completing that, and if you have not yet started, I will guide you how you can take access to that Coursera course. You would be required to simply log into coursera.org using your registered email ID, and you will be having access to these specialization. Along with it, you were granted access to QuickLabs learning platform, which is again a hands-on self-paced learning platform. So for that as well, the Google have itself recommended various quests, yes, which you should be following by preparing for this examination. So all these things can be checked from this certification homepage. And finally, we have a practice exam as well. So I will guide you shortly again how you would be following this particular practice exam for this certification for your preparations. So let's start by discussing the key modules. So here, in setting up a cloud solution environment, this is the very first module of this certification. So you need to focus on 6 key points. The first is resource hierarchy. So it is expected that you should be having understanding on what is organization, folders, project, resource structure. So whenever you are working on Google Cloud, you would start by creating your projects. If not, there will be a pre-configured project. So each and every resources being launched in GCP are under projects itself. So these are assigned to a particular project. Or alternatively, we can say that for launching any GCP services or resources, a project is the primary requirement. Then the understanding on IAM is also expected. You should have a knowledge of who can access what resources, how you can set up IAM permission in order to avoid the abuse of resources. Next important service is API. So directly or indirectly, you will be accessing some of these APIs or services in your application. So you should be having a fair knowledge of how you can enable these APIs. The next important service is Stackdriver Workspace or cloud monitoring. So in order to monitor GCP resources, there is a separate section called cloud monitoring. You should be aware of what is the workspace, how you can set up that, and how you can handle this platform to monitor all your services and resources you have launched inside GCP. Then the next important concept is billing and billing accounts. So as you will be using these resources, you would be charged for it accordingly. So you should have also a clear idea of how billing works in GCP. And we will discuss this in our very next slide. And finally, the CLI knowledge is also expected. So till now you might have aware about the Cloud Shell. This is the CLI approach of the GCP. It is expected that you should know how you can install and configure CLI, especially Cloud SDK on your personal machines, and how you can use the Cloud Shell within GCP console for performing services or for performing actions on your different GCP services and resources. Now, next important concept is of resource hierarchy. So as you see on the screen, so Google Cloud has distributed its infrastructure, its resource hierarchy, which allows you to provide and grant permissions very effectively, and also it would help you in assigning billing accounts to the organization. So consider you are having a company and you are having multiple projects running within this organization. So as you see on the screen, the admin sitting at the top of this organization can create folders and subfolders to separate the different projects being operating within their organization. So for that, what you can do, you can create a project inside that folder, and then all those resources for that particular project will be launched within that project. So if you see carefully, the resource one, I would say this is one of the particular GCP services which is being launched inside project Ice Cream, and this Ice Cream project is assigned within folder 1, which is being monitored by the organization. So the right colored arrow, yes, the red colored arrow shows who owns what service, who have a control on which particular service, whether it is a folder, project or resource, and the green color arrow shows the direction of who is managing the payment for that particular service. Again, there is one more important concept you should be having understanding is of billing account. So billing accounts are being assigned to the organizations. You can even have multiple billing accounts. These will be having control to their infra admin, and that admin can assign that which billing account should cater the usage of what particular projects. So you can attach a particular project to a billing account which is being monitored by the overall GCP admin. And finally, the very most important concept is of least privileges. So while working in the resource hierarchy, GCP follows the very popular concept of least privileges, which says that you should be allowing the least minimum permission to the user or a resource or service which can allow you to fulfill your infrastructure requirement. So a set of checks that assist you in restricting your users or application to not do more than what they are supposed to do. This is the concept of least privileges. So let's understand billing in GCP in a better manner. So as I have already mentioned, that project are linked to the billing account. So you can assign project to a billing account, which is again assigned to the organization. So billing account is required to consume any of your GCP services, and billing is managed by billing administrator. So to change your billing account, you must be a owner of your project or a billing administrator of that particular billing account. So this will also allows you to monitor your budgets as well. Now, the next module states that you should be having understanding on different compute, storage and network services. Now here comes the first very important concept of pricing calculator. Yes. So again, if you go to the home page again, you would see a drop down of pricing, which will take you through the pricing calculator. So in this pricing calculator, you can play around GCP service and resources. So consider you are working in Compute Engine, so you can put the number of instances you want, any services or any reference tag you want to put. All these things you can put, and finally you can estimate the cost of that particular virtual machine which will be incurred per month. Yes. So using this billing, I would say pricing calculator, you can estimate in a prior manner the amount, the cost which will be incurred by your services. So understanding on this pricing calculator is expected from a person appearing for this exam. The others being the compute services, you should know the type of compute services available within GCP, whether it is Compute Engine, App Engine, Kubernetes Engine, Cloud Functions or any other service which allows you to host your application. Next, you should be aware of planning and configuring the storage option, whether you are working with Cloud SQL, BigQuery, Cloud Storage, what are the options available to you, storage options, whether you can choose regional, multi-regional, nearline, code line based on your application requirement. And finally, the basic introductory level understanding on networking concepts is also expected from a user. So you should be knowing that what are the different load balancing options available, what is Cloud DNS, how you can configure it. So understanding on these services is expected. Now the next important concept is the cloud storage options available within GCP. So Google provides variety of data storage option according to the data to be stored. So consider if you are looking to store blobs data, you can go with cloud storage option. Whereas if your requirement is to save and process the relational data, you have two choices, that is Cloud SQL and Cloud Spanner. You can choose one of these service according to the data size of your application. So for non-relational data, we have Cloud Firestore, Cloud Bigtable. If your requirement is to store wide column store data, you can go with Cloud Bigtable. For document based data, Cloud Data Store is the good option. And for your analytical purpose, you can use Cloud BigQuery, which is a serverless, highly scalable and cost effective data warehousing solution provided in GCP. And finally, for all your mobile SDKs requirement, you can go with a very unique service introduced by Google, which is Firebase, to help you manage all your data for your mobile applications requirement. Now, consider a scenario where you are working on creating an infra of your application. It will be a customization part. So for this, you will be dependent on GCE and GKE services, which is Compute Engine and Kubernetes Engine or Container Engine. So suppose you are working on the development part of your application, you would be focusing on the code of your application and not on infra. So for that you can move ahead with the GCP services like GAE, which is App Engine, which is a managed service, or Cloud Function, or Firebase. So based on your requirement, application requirement, you can choose from the variety of compute options available in GCP. So on your screen, the services you are seeing on the left side are highly customizable, highly managed, which provides you high control. You can choose the underlying infra on these services, but if you are looking to focus on the logic of your application, the code of your application, then you might be looking for highly managed services, which the Google take cares of the part of these services. So based on your requirement, you can choose between any of these computing services. Now, next you should be knowing is the networking products in GCP. So Google Cloud provides a variety of networking services, whether it is a VPC, Cloud DNS, Cloud VPN, Cloud Interconnect. All these services are provided to you to help you connect with your on-prem infrastructure, or you are looking to connect two of the services within GCP. And if you are looking for scaling networking options, you might be interested in Cloud CDN or Cloud Load Balancing. Load balancing helps you to divert traffic on your different application. Yes, so consider you are having an application which is hosted on multiple VMs. So you can put a load balancers, and based on the incoming traffic, it can divert the traffic on the different VMs available for your application. Then for optimizing, we have standard network tier, premium network tier options. Yes. And finally, to secure your application, we have Cloud Armor, Cloud NAT, and IAP. Yes, IAP is Identity Aware Proxy, which allows you to secure your application. Now, in the next module, which is deploying and implementing a cloud solution, so it asks you to have a basic introductory understanding on how you would be deploying your application requirements in Compute Engine, Kubernetes Engine, App Engine, yes, or other managed services like Cloud Run and Cloud Functions. So a basic understanding on different GCP services, the solution which allows you to deploy your application in this cloud platform is required. So you can choose deployment manager, you can implement different networking resources, yes, and then there is a variety of solutions again available in the cloud marketplace. So you should be aware that how you can use these services, how these services are deployed, and how you can implement your cloud solution. And next, for ensuring successful operation of your cloud solution. So once you have deployed your application successfully, then there comes the part where you would be required to manage your computing resources. So for that, you should be aware that how you can manage the computing resources hosted on Compute Engine. Yes, how you can start, stop your virtual machine, how you can change boot disk, how you can add more storage. This is expected from you. Then you have a Kubernetes Engine, how you host your image, container image on GKE. Yes, how you can increase nodes. So all these things are expected from your understanding. Then we have monitoring and logging, which allows you to have a check on the services running on your infrastructure within your project, which allows you to use and utilize these services efficiently. Yes. Now next comes is configuring access and security. So Google provides a unique solution which is managing identity and access management, which allows you to restrict access of the user, yes, on different GCP services and resources. You can assign IAM roles, and based on which access would be provided to the users using your services. And then we have services accounts. So these service accounts helps you to grant permission when you would be connecting to different services, and it provides you the control using which you can limit privileges, limit access on your critical data and resources. And then you can view audit logs to manage your services. Now, next comes the part of using resource hierarchy for access control. So we earlier discussed that GCP provides you the hierarchy, yes. So for that, using that hierarchy, you also can implement identity and access management in this hierarchy. So let me show you the screen. So here you see that there is a Bob, which is a network admin of a particular organization, and he is having a control on two of the projects, A and B, and these projects have multiple resources also. So now Bob is already having access to all these compute network resources, yes, since he is sitting at the top of the hierarchy. So the Bob is having access to project A and project B, and this project manager is having access to resource A and resource 2, and similarly for project B. So now the Alice, which is the compute instance admin of project A, she is looking for having access to all the compute access to all the instance resources in project A. So she would be having that as well, but she would not be having access to the resource inside project B, because GCP follows principle of least privileges. So the admin of project A, yes, is only requiring access to the resources within that his or her particular project, but not on resource 3, which is used by project B admin, yes. So in a similar manner, the resource hierarchy works, and you can implement IAM in using the resource hierarchy. Now, next important point we should be discussing is unlocking preparation materials. So you all would be having already being provided access to architecting with Google Compute Engine. This is the specialization to which you would be having access to on Coursera platform. So I recommend you to log in to your Coursera accounts to check for the access to your specialization and complete and follow the specialization for better understanding on different modules of this Associate Cloud Engineer Certificate exam. The next resource available with you are the hands-on lab available on QuickLabs platform. So Google has already recommended multiple quests which you should be following for having better understanding of these services, these modules. So I recommend you to make a note of these quests visible on your screen, which you also can find on the cloud certification homepage itself. There all these quests are again listed right there. You can follow that page and can access that QuickLab platform for performing these labs and sharpening your understanding on these services. Now, once you do that, once you complete your specialization on Coursera, have done hands-on on QuickLabs, next you should be checking is for practice examination. Okay, so let me show you how you can access the practice examination. So earlier I mentioned that you should be having access to the certification homepage. Yes, you can navigate to Google Cloud Certification. From there you have Associate Cloud Engineer Certification. Here you would have a section called Sample Question. So this provides you access to a practice examination which is being provided to you. You can follow this examination for having a check on your understanding of different GCP services and resources. So once you go to this page, there is a Google form which follows and provides you access to the sample questions for this exam. So at the very first page, it would ask you for candidate ID. So if you have already registered for exam, you would be having candidate ID. If not, then just select no and proceed to the exam. Now in the next page, provide your details, your first name, last name, your email ID and all other relevant information. Yes, and on the very next page you would find questions for this particular exam. So what I recommend you is that complete your training, follow specialization, follow your GCCF courses, the quests listed on the certification homepage. Once you complete all these, go for this practice exam. There would be around 20 questions, and at the end of this exam, when you submit this form, you would be also having your scores right there, which will give you an idea, a level of understanding you are having on different GCP services and resources. Yes, and a feedback for all your answers would be also provided. So I will definitely recommend for you to follow this exam and check your understanding on different GCP services. So once you have completed this practice test, you would be having understanding, and based on which again you can follow Google Cloud documentation, official documentation, for increasing your knowledge on different GCP services. Here again I will reiterate to follow the study guide carefully. Yes, if you would be following the exam guide, you would be having a list of all the key services which GCP has recommended, understanding on which these services is required by a aspirant. So let me guide you. So let us discuss few important questions, and later I will guide you how you can schedule your certificate examination. So there are very common, frequently asked questions. So let me discuss these one by one. So first is like how you should be finding a nearest test centers. So there is a Criterion testing website. Yes, criteriononline.com. So if you go to this particular website, based on your location itself, it will recommend you the nearest test centers available. So you can follow this for locating the nearest test center. Take a printout of email which you would be receiving at the end of registering the exam, which provides you a test taker authorization code which would be required at the test center for appearing for this exam. So next question is like, are all questions provided in the exam, the official exam, are scored? So no, at any given point of time there remains a few questions which Google just put there to check your understanding whether these questions are in review. So there might be a case that few of your questions would not be evaluated, but still you should be answering all the questions. This is a very standard practice in the testing industry, so there is no need to worry. Now next question is like, for how long this certification is valid? So unless explicitly stated in the detailed exam description, all GCP certifications are valid for a duration of 2 years from the date you are certified. Yes, so you would be required to recertify in order to maintain your certification status. So again, this is a very important point you should note, that at the end of every 2-year cycle, as the platform keeps evolving, you should enhance your understanding and get yourself recertified. So what will happen if you do not pass the exam? Yes, so if you do not pass the exam in your very first attempt, you can reattempt this exam after a 2 weeks time, that is 14 days. If you again do not pass the exam in 60 days, 14 days, then for second attempt you would be waiting for 60 days, that is 2 months. And still, if you do not clear that exam in these after this 2 month time, then for your third attempt you would be required to wait for a year. But this question was just for information's sake, but I believe you all that you would be passing this exam, most of you, in your very first attempt itself. So I recommend you to prepare well and then appear for this exam. Now, as I have already mentioned, that you can locate the nearest test center by following the website, official website, which is criteriononline.com. Yes, to register for your certification exam. This website will help you to locate the nearest test centers, which you can to which you can go for appearing for this exam. And again, there is a second option also available to you, which is you can appear for the exam. Yes, at your home itself there is a new option which is called online proctored. I will show you in a short while. So you can appear for exam now at your home itself. The only thing you would be required is a laptop and a high bandwidth internet connection to appear for the exam. So what are the next steps for you guys? So firstly, you should be completing all the courses in the architecting with Google Cloud Platform specialization. Take the practice exam, make notes, and based on your understanding on different GCP services, go back, review the Google Cloud documentation following the exam study guide, and you would be receiving a voucher to enroll for the certification. You would use that voucher to register for the exam. And finally, you can take this test at a Criterion Center or at your home itself. So now let me show you how you should be registering for the exam. So there is a portal called webassessor.com. It is the testing authority appointed by Google to take your exam. Criterion is the test center authority. Yes, the website to register for this exam is webassessor.com. For GCP certification, it is Google Cloud. So go to webassessor.com/Google Cloud. Here, if you are new to this platform, Criterion, you would be firstly required to create a Google Cloud Web Assessor account. Yes, it would ask you to provide username, all the relevant information. Yes, your email ID of your organization. If you are a student, you can provide your university or Bankit email ID. Provide all these relevant information for creating your account. So once your account is ready, you can simply log into this portal and it will take you to the registration homepage. So here there is a button register for an exam displayed at the center of the page, or you can select the tab itself to navigate to the list of exams hosted by GCP. So you are looking to prepare for this very first exam, yes, which is Google Cloud Certified Associate Cloud Engineer Examination in English language. Again, it is available in multiple languages. Based on your preference, you can select the exam. Now, as I earlier mentioned that you can take an exam at the Criterion Test Centers, which is on-site proctored. So on-site proctored here is referring to the Criterion Test Centers. And second option is remote proctored, which is referring to your exam you would be taking at your home, at your office, at university. Just ensure that you are having a machine with the configuration required, along with it a good internet connection and a quiet place to appear for this examination. So for now, let me show you how this will work. So once you have selected a particular exam, yes, it will take you to select the preferred date and time. So let me select a date and time. Let me proceed. Do read this terms and conditions. Once done, it will take you to the shopping cart page. Now here you should be reviewing your exam, the duration, schedule, date and time. Ensure that you are scheduling the time very carefully, as it will be in your time zone. Provide the voucher code at this place, and once done, apply to that voucher. Once you apply the voucher, you will get the relevant discount, and finally click on checkout page to finally register for the exam. So in this manner you would be registering for this particular exam. Now let's discuss the setup of online proctored exam. So once you have registered for the exam, you would be required to set up for this. You would be required to prepare for this exam. So for that, you are required to have a basic hardware requirement: screen resolution, webcam, minimum of 1 Mbps internet connection. Operating system is also recommended, whether it is a Windows or Mac OS. You have a browsers recommendation as well, the ports which are required for this exam, and all other details are listed right here. Yes, so you should keep a check of all these requirements, and you should also be having access to the support page of the Criterion. So if you are having any difficulties, you can reach out to Criterion support, and there will be an expert for you, helping you out in scheduling your exam. So we have discussed this system requirement for online proctored exam. Now, once you fulfill these requirements, you would be required to download Sentinel application. So from the My Assessment section, you would be having this on your top right corner, which asks you to install this application on your machine. And when there would be a time for your examination, you would be logging into your account, and there you would find that launch exam button. If you are appearing in a remote proctored manner, you should be launching your exam from this very same account from which you have registered for exam. Next, you would be required to enroll for the biometrics. It will take you to the facial detection system. Using your webcam, you can easily verify your face. Then there will be a proctor which will ask you to provide a document. Again, you should be having your driving license and passport handy, which you can show to the examiner. Yes, so we have discussed this again. You should be having a quite well lit room before appearing for exam. Your system and machine should meet all the requirements. You should have Sentinel pre-installed, and keep yourself prepared for biometric verification. Take photo ID at the time of the examination to verify your candidacy. And finally, you can start by answering your exam. So that was it for this session. I hope you all have a learning session. You should have got an idea of how you can focus on preparing for this exam following the study guide provided by Google Cloud. And if you are having any questions, again, you can drop in the chat section. We are having experts which will help you in answering your queries and questions. So that's it for now. I wish you all the best for your certificate examinations. Thank you.